Hey y'all, it's your girl KT and welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome back to Confessions of a Publicist. Thank you guys so much for staying tuned. So if you watched my last video, which is so you think you want to be a publicist, 5 challenges that you will face as being a public relations professional in this industry, I talked a lot about the different terms like in-house and agency life, and I thought, you know, maybe I should explain that to you because I know when I was coming in public relations, I didn't know what the real difference was. I just knew, you know, maybe some people worked here, some people worked there, but those are very much, you know, terms that people use in public relations a lot. And I'm gonna give y'all kind of the nitty-gritty of the pros and cons for working for in-house or the pros and cons for agency life and what's kind of my favorite and my, you know, experience with both of them since I've done in-house, I've done agency, I worked at agency and I had my own agency, so I can tell you guys a lot about it. So first, hi, my name is KT and I'm your new favorite publicist to come live to you on this channel to talk about career, PR, and also a sprinkle of lifestyle from here to there. So welcome. If you're new, go ahead and like and comment and subscribe and hit the notification bell because this is where you want to be. You're going to get the tips firsthand for someone who is in the field. I've been in this field for 8 years now. Jesus. 8 years go by fast, so I have a lot of information to give to you guys and I'm just going to do it without further ado. Let's go ahead and get straight on into this video. Alright y'all, so I know if you're in public relations at school, they talk all about in-house versus agency. There's this big hoopla about which one is best, and I can tell you, you know, the differences and everything, but ultimately it's a choice up to you. But I'm gonna give you guys some informed information before you make that decision so you can kind of understand what you're getting yourself into. So when we talk about in-house PR, in-house PR is really you're working for an organization. So you're working within that organization to do their public relations, communications, marketing, whatever you're going to be doing. You work in-house in that organization. So the analogy I always use is in-house is like you're working at McDonald's. So McDonald's has a corporate public relations space. You're a part of that team. So you work in-house for McDonald's. Agency is that you work for an agency that is then contracted out for an organization who might not have the bandwidth for their public relations and communication department, or they might not have one at all. So they contract out an agency to take over for everything. So let's use the analogy of McDonald's again. So maybe McDonald's is working on this national campaign and they know their public relations department is really working on it to the day-to-day public relations campaigns they have. So they might, I'm just gonna say this, I don't know if they have a contract with McDonald's, and if anybody says kid, I said it, don't, this is allegedly, so I didn't say this, but just say one of the biggest agencies like Edelman's actually is contracted out from McDonald's to handle this big, large campaign. So agency will then pass it along to their people. So technically you don't work for McDonald's. You work on things for McDonald's, but you don't work for McDonald's. You work for Edelman's. So it's like a third party in between you and the organization. So those are the kind of difference between in-house and agency. So now that you know those differences, let's go ahead and get into the pros and the cons about each one. So in-house public relations, the pros are that you actually work for the organization. So you get to, you know, really dive deep into the brand. You understand the organization as a whole. It's something that you really are passionate about, and you learn a lot and pick up a lot by being alongside some of the people who do the work daily. Also, I just say this, you get to, you know, really immerse yourself into everything that in-house or that organization is about. During my time in-house, I have been in-house at 4 companies now. Wait, so I interned at in-house, I did the airport. Yep, so I've done in-house about 4 or 5 times. So I like in-house. In-house is really comfortable. You really get a chance to be as creative as you want to with the organization, because that's what your focus is on. So if you're someone who likes to focus in on just one thing, in-house is really going to be for you. Now, one of the cons is that if you don't like focusing on just one thing, in-house PR can get, let me say, a little boring sometimes, depending on the organization. Now, it depends on the organization, the industry, and all that kind of stuff. But like I said, if you're someone who likes to do a lot, have their hands in a lot, and it really depends on how far up the chain you are too, in-house PR can also stifle some of your creativity, because if you're in the industry that is very focused and very niche and very driven by a lot of rules and regulations and stuff, your creativity can take a toll in those organizations. So in-house can be fun because you get to work on one brand, and that's kind of a con in itself. But also, you know, I would say depending on the organization and how many people in your department, a lot of times in-house PR doesn't have room for advancement. I can tell you guys this, when I was at the airport, it was literally just 3 of us. It was me, and I was the PR and marketing assistant. We had a marketing specialist and a PR manager. If nobody left, I would still be an assistant if I would stay with the company. Although I ended up leaving, and I told you guys the whole story behind that. But literally, there was no room for matriculation, especially after so many years. I don't know if everybody else feels like that, but I feel that sometimes, you know, once you master a certain skill set, unless, you know, you're not someone who wants to climb the corporate ladder, you don't want job advancements, so in-house might be cool for you. But unless you're willing to jump around to various organizations, sometimes you won't be able to grow in that organization that you started with, unless, you know, it's a massive layoff, a lot of people left, something of that magnitude that kind of shakes up that in-house PR organization. But again, it's just preference. So I told you guys about agency life. So the pros of agency life is that you get to work on multiple things. So if you're someone who likes to work on different brands, you literally have the autonomy to want to do a lot. Agency life is for you, because you can work on various industries. You can learn so much about an industry just by working on theirs, because one day you might be with the hospitality industry, maybe you might work with fashion. It is just so many things that you can do with agency, and you won't, you know, have to move to organization to organization to learn about the industry. You'll get a chance to, you know, immerse yourself in it all together. Also, agency life does have a tendency to have more job advancement, because depending on how much clientele they have, they might have, you know, account managers, you got assistant account managers, you got it's a plethora of stuff that you can do, or be an account coordinator, all depending on what agency you're with. You do have a lot for job advancement, especially if they're intaking a lot of clients at one time. So with those are some great pros, but there are a lot of cons when it comes to agency life. And I can talk to this a lot, because there are a lot of burnout when you're working in agency. And specifically for me, I've worked in agency as an intern, as a junior publicist. I did it as a public relations manager. Mind you, they were contract jobs, so they weren't, you know, paying the most. Just being honest, agency life, unless you're getting up to like a director or real manager position, is not gonna pay a lot. So that's one of the cons. They don't pay a lot. So I did a lot of contract jobs, but you get burned out a lot because you're working so much, you're working so hard to get a product out, and sometimes there might not be any downtime in between clients, anything of that nature. So agency does have a tendency to have higher burnout rates than in-house PR. Then another con outside of just is not paying a lot and, you know, burnout. Sometimes, depending on the agency, you might get let go because they don't have any clientele coming in. Especially if you're dealing with a smaller agency that's relying on, you know, clients coming in. You might not have any work, or you might not be contracted out again because they don't have any clients coming in. So that is also a very much a con, because sometimes it depends on the agency. They might pay you, you know, a stipend, or you might have to bill your hours. I worked with someone, so if they're not giving you no work, you're not getting paid, and you can't bill these hours out. So that's another thing, that agency life is kind of different from in-house PR. In-house PR, you know, you get your check every 2 weeks. You might be salary, you might be hourly, whatever. So as long as you hit that clock, you gonna get a paycheck. But agency life, if you billing something out, you might not see no money, or you might see 3 hours because you only did 3 hours of work that week, or for the last 2 weeks, or sometimes a month. I have done that, like literally I have. And sometimes, most of the time, I work agency as consultant on the side. So thankfully, I've always had a full-time job alongside consulting, so it's not as bad. But I can imagine if you're working agency life like full-time, and literally you only had 12 hours a month, and depending on how much you're getting paid, you might be looking crazy. You might not have a good paycheck, and that's a lot, especially if you're living on your own, you got bills, all that kind of stuff. So those are the cons when it comes to agency life. So my spiel on which one is better, I wouldn't say one is better than the other. It really is what serves you at the best time in your life. If you're someone that really wants to get their feet wet, they're really trying to hit the ground running, agency life might be for you, because you can find that, you know, fast-paced environment. You can get stuff done, you can learn so much about public relations in various industries, and then, you know, maybe once you get up into your career, maybe you want to slow down a little bit, maybe you want to work on one place, so maybe you want to go in-house. But I cannot lie, as someone who owned an agency, worked in-house, I'm an in-house girly. I'm sorry, right now in my life, I have literally loved in-house public relations, because I've gotten to build a lot of rapport, and I think maybe because of the industries I've been in aviation, I've been in law enforcement, so I've been in higher education. Yeah, I have done a lot in 8 years. I have done a lot, and I can honestly say in-house has done a lot for me. I have grown the most, to be honest, in-house. And I got my start in-house. So my first internship was in-house higher education at my alma mater. So I can never ever forget that. And I think that is where I found that in-love house, you know, mentality. But that's all I have for today. So comment down below if you think you're going to be an in-house person or an agency person. It's really up to you, but again, I would love to, you know, have a little chat about it. And if you have any other questions, definitely let me know. And if you have any topics that you would like for me to talk about specifically on Confessions of the Publicist, definitely send an email to ktthepublicist@gmail.com so I can go ahead and research it, or if I know something about it, I can answer it. Also, students, if you're looking for like a mentor, I am definitely open for information interviews. So just hit me up, send me an email, and we can jump on a call so I can tell you a little bit more about my experience in public relations and see how I can help. But As always, do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you won't miss a beat when I drop a new video. Also share this with your work and business besties and let them know KT is now their favorite publicist and they gotta become part of the family. So thank you guys for staying tuned. Thank you for all the support, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye y'all.